Hi guys, you're welcome to my channel. It's Pepi Styling here. In today's video, we're going to be learning how I made this two-piece kimono and shorts. The kimono has a drawstring on both sides. If this is what you're interested in, kindly keep on watching. If you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. And to my returning subscribers, you're welcome back. Without wasting much time, let's get right into today's video. Okay, so I'll be starting off with this illustration. I'll be using this paper. So what I folded here will be the length of the kimono, and then I'm going to fold it this way. Okay, so you're going to fold your fabric this way. We'll be cutting the front and the back together. So from here, you're just going to measure the shoulder, half of your shoulder measurement. The shoulder I'm working with is 16, half of it is 8, and then from that mark, you're going to extend to measure how long you want the sleeve of the kimono to be. Okay, so from that shoulder line point, I went down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope, and for the neck, I'm using 2 inches by 1 inch. Okay, and this neck is for the back because we are cutting both the front and the back together. So now I've connected this line to form the shoulder slope. From that point, I'm going to mark the sleeve opening. Okay, that was what I marked there. And the next thing is to measure the full length of your kimono, how long you want the kimono to be. For this body measurement, you're going to be using the biggest part of your body. If it's the hip that is the biggest part, you're going to use your hip circumference divided by 4. Okay, and if it's the bust that is the biggest part, you're going to use the bust circumference divided by 4. And then we're going to be adding extra 2 inches for ease and then 1 inch for similar ones. But for me, I usually like to add just 1 inch for ease and then 1 inch for similar ones because I don't like my kimono too big. But if you want your kimono to be very big, just go ahead and add 2 inches to your body measurement and then 1 inch for similar ones. Okay, so next thing is to smoothen this place. Okay, that is it, and then we're just going to cut this out. So when you open this up, what you're going to have is the front and the back piece together. So I'm just going to label it front and back. Now we're going to set the back aside. So on the front piece, it's going to have an opening at the center front. So from this neck point, like, you're just going to take it all the way to the full length, just like so. And then we're just going to cut this piece out. So this is what it should look like. This is the front and this is the back piece. This is how it's going to be. Okay, so for the opening in front, you're going to be cutting a straight cape that will go all around the front to the back neckline. So for the short, I'll be drafting it on a pattern paper. As you can see, I minused 1.5 from the waistline. I'm just going to mark waist to hip line, which is 9 inches. And then waist to crotch length. And how you get your crotch length is that you divide your hip by 4 to get your crotch length. So that's what I marked here, 9 inches, 12, and then the length of the short. And then I'm just going to connect this with a straight line. So here's the hip line, crotch, and then the full length of the short. On the crotch line, I'm going to mark the hip divided by 4, which is 12 inches, and I added 1.5 for seam allowance. So the same thing I have here, I'll mark the same thing on the hip line, and I'm just going to connect the two lines. So whatever we'll have here, I'm going to subtract 1 inch and then mark it on the waistline, and then we're going to connect it to the hip line, just like so. So from this point, we're going to divide this point by 4 to get the crotch extension. Now what I got is about 3 inches. Then I'm going to mark it here, and on this part I went up by 1 inch. Then I'm just going to connect just like you see me doing here. So on this part, I'm going to mark the waist circumference divided by 4. And then 1.5 for seam allowance. I won't be adding any dart to this short. Next, I'm just going to connect it to the hip line, just like so. On the crotch line, I'm going to go inwards by half an inch and then connect it back to the hip line, just like so. I usually like to give it this curve. So from this point here, I'm going to divide those 2 points into 2 and mark the midpoint. Okay, so whatever I have on this point, I'll mark the same thing on the hemline as well. I have about 8 inches and then I'm going to connect with a straight line, just like so. Okay, so this line is serving as the grain line. So now what I'm going to mark here is my round thigh. That's the upper part of my knee divided by 2, and then I'm going to divide it again. So whatever you have, when you divide your thigh by 2, you divide it again and then mark it on both sides of that grain line. So now I'm just going to connect just like you see me doing here. On this part, you're going to use a slight curve, just like so. So coming over to the waistline, I'm going to come downwards by 1 inch and then I'll connect it back to this point. So here I've got ahead to cut it on the main fabric. So now to cut the back, if I don't have enough pattern paper, I'm just going to place this front pattern paper on top of the fabric, just like so, leaving some space on both sides and also on the top end. I'm just going to extend the crotch line, hip line and the full length and also the waistline. You can see the chalk is not showing. I tried using the white chalk, the orange chalk, but still it wasn't showing. It's this yellow that tried. This is one of the reasons I had to illustrate that kimono the way I did. But just follow my lead here, you're going to understand. From that crotch extension, I went out by 3 inches, and on that 3 inches mark, I came down by ½ inch. And on this part, I'm going to mark 1 inch. Then I'm just going to connect it to this point here, just like so. Okay, so on this curve here, we'll come outwards by 1 inch, and on the waistline, I'll go inwards by 1 inch, and from that 1 inch, I'll go up by 2 inches or 1.5. So I'll be going upwards by 1.5, just on that point here. So now I'm going to connect all those lines. Just follow my lead, you're going to understand this very well. Okay, so moving over to this part, I'm going to measure quarter of the waist circumference. I'm just going to mark it here, and then I'm going to add extra 1.5 for seam allowance. You can decide to add that, it's totally up to you. Okay, so now on this hip line, I'll add 1 inch all the way to the hemline. If you want to understand this part much better, I have a detailed tutorial on how to draft a pant. You can use that pattern to also make your shorts. That's the same thing I used to make this short here. Okay, so here I'm just going to cut this out. So this is the front and the back pattern. Okay, so to cut out the pockets, I'm just going to mark 1.5 from this point and then come downwards by 8 inches. We're just going to connect it with a straight line, just like so. And then for the pocket piece, I have this fabric folded into 2. Yes, and it's 8 inches wide on fold, and then the length is 12 inches. I'm just going to open it up, just like so, right sides facing each other. And we're going to get this front pattern, place it on top, and then follow that mark that we made on it and cut. Okay, so this is what the pocket piece looks like. Okay, you can decide to leave it just like so, but I'll be giving it a slight curve just on this part. You can decide to leave it, this is totally optional. For the sewing part of this kimono, I'm just going to bring the back. I'm going to place the two front pieces on it just like so, right side facing each other, and stitch the both on the shoulder with 1/2 inch. Okay, so here I've done that. Next thing I'm going to do is to turn the sleeve opening up like so, and then I'm going to go and close the sides with 1 inch seam allowance, and this is what it looks like when I'm done. So the next thing now is to cut out those long strip. It measures 2.5 on fold. So we're just going to get the kimono and we're going to place it on top just like so. From the hem, we're going to stitch it all the way across the neckline and come all the way back to the front just like so. So this is what it looks like when I'm done. So now to work on that ruche effect, I've already hemmed the down part. Okay, so when you're hemming it, make sure not to hem this seam allowance together. What I'm going to do now is to go and run a stitch on that seam allowance on both sides. I'm just going to measure how long I want that ruche to be, then we'll stitch on both sides of the seam to form a rope channel. I'll do the same for this side as well. So here I've done that. Okay, I'm also gonna head to stitch these ropes. I have four pieces of it, so I'm going to use my safety pin to pass it through that casing. When I'm done with the first, I'm going to pass the second one through the second casing just like so. Okay, and this is what it should look like. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just pulling the ropes, get the desired length that I want, and then I'm going to go and run a stitch just on it like so to avoid it from pulling out. So I'm just going to repeat the same thing for this other side as well. Okay, so here I'm all done with that. I'm just going to trim down the excess that I have here. Okay, so when you pull the rope, this is what you're going to have. So if you want the ruche to be more, you can extend it. I'm just going to do the same thing here, trim down the excess that I have here and then pull this up. See how beautiful it's looking. So that is basically it for this kimono. Moving over to the short. So here I'm just going to separate the two front piece, then we're going to get the pocket. We're going to place it on each of the front piece, right sides facing each other. We're going to go and join on this side. We're going to go and join here with 1/2 inch. So this is it when I'm done. I've stitched it and also top stitch along the pocket piece. So I'm going to bring this one forward like so. Okay, I'm going to go and stitch up this part. So this is what it looks like when I'm done. When you flip it inwards, this is what you should have. Okay, this is it. See how simple it is to fix your pockets. I'm just going to iron it a little bit to lie flat and also hold this part with pin, and also trim off the little excess we have here along that waistline. Okay, so this is the pocket, and for the back part of this shirt, what I did is I joined it along the crotch line with 1/2 inch. So now I'm going to place the front on it, right side facing each other, and then we're going to go and close up the side. Okay, make sure that the two sides are equal. So we'll go and close it with 1 inch seam allowance that we gave. Okay, so here I've done that. So the next thing now is to join these two parts together. So now you're going to make sure that the two lines aligns with each other. Okay, then I'm just going to hold this with a pin and then we'll go and close up this side. So from this point you can measure your thigh or knee length depending on the length of your shirt. Okay, so here I'm done with all that. So the next thing is to just put the band and hem the down parts. So I have detailed tutorial on how you can do all that on this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. To my returning subscribers, thank you guys so much for sticking with us, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.